So he says, V'lochein nemar beDavid. And that's why by David. David is the Sfiras HaMalchus. We're talking about the difference between the Bayis, Levush, and the Mozin. So we're talking about that the Bayis is the Makiv, the Makiv. That's the highest level. That's the level which comes Behes Chadas. That's the level that comes through Teshuvah. It is Breach Boigdov. This is the level of Bayis, which is Nizgala Dafke in the lowest level, in the level of Offer. That's why by David it says, "V'hakimoisi l'cho Bayis Nemon." I will stand up for you a house of Nemon, Bayis Nemon. A Bayis is the level of, as we'll see, the level of Bayis, which is the level also of Doimem, because as he explained that Dafke in the Doimem, Dafke in the lower level, you can get the highest level. Hade Nikra, we see Bechinas Malchus, or the level of Malchus is called B'Shem Bayis. We call it Bayis. Why is it called Bayis? Mipnei Sha'omar, because David HaMelech said, Loi gova libi chulu v'deimamti. He says, my heart has not been haughty, and I am silent. Meaning he had the level of bittul, because David HaMelech had this level of subjugation of bittul to the Eibishter. Okemoi habayis, that is just like the bayis, the actual house, is nimshach mibchinas avonim, the offer that comes from stones and sand. That's the level of doimem. Shehu b'chinas doimem. Not nimshach mebayis nase. Bayis nase mibchinas avonim offer. A house is made from stones and sand, which is the level shubchinas doimem, which is the level of doimem. And the shorshoy, but the root of this doimem, the root of the bayis, the root of malchus, is mebchinas makiv the makiv, and the root of it is in high level makiv the makiv. Kach malchus he bechinas hasfido achroino shebe'eser sfidas datzilis, and likewise malchus is the last sfida in the 10 sfidas of Atzilus. V'shorsho hu me'oid naile b'bchinas makiv shebemakiv kinal, and the root is very high from the level of makiv makiv. So just like the doimem, the offer, are the lowest as they come down in the world from the Eish Ruach Mayim offer. The offer is the lowest, and yet they come from the highest level of Makiv to Makiv. Likewise, Malchus, which is the last bit of Atzilus, is from the Shoirish Makiv Makiv. Velochei, and therefore, the Chanukas HaBeis HaMikdosh, in the Chanukas of the Beis HaMikdosh, that's the Bayis HaMikdosh, that is Shenimshach L'Shom, that over there has been brought down, drawn down, B'chinas Makiv to Makiv Kinal. It gets from the level of Makiv to Makiv. Shehu L'Mailo Min HaRotzin, B'chinas Keser, which is higher than the Rotzin. The regular mitzvahs, the regular Rotzin Elyon is the level of Keser, the level of Arich. But here we're talking about Atik, the Makiv, the higher level, the level of Bayis. Ve'ein shom shayich shom simcha klal. And that level of Keser, in the higher in Keser, the Makiv, over there you don't enjoy. When there is mitzvahs that the person wants to fulfill, the regular mitzvahs, over there is simcha. Pasuk says, so that means the regular mitzvahs can be done and need to be done with simcha. We say, Asher Kiddishonu b'mitzvos chulu. You make us holy with the mitzvah, so there is simcha over there. Mipnei she'shorsho mebchinas rotzon ha'elyon kinal. There can be simcha because there is rooted in the rotzon ha'elyon. Over there can be simcha. Mashen ke Chanukas habayis. When we're talking about the Chanukas habayis, the level of the bayis, that is choyma b'chinas doimo. That is a level of a wall, a level of doima. Is that what it says? Chanukas habayis choyma. Just right after bayis comes the word choyma, right?
Yes.
Okay. So machenke Chanukas habayis, which is a choyma. A bayis is a choyma. It's a wall, which is b'chinas doima. It's a wall which is a level of doima. It's a level of anatomy. So over there, that is higher than Rotzena Elyon. That's higher than the level of Simcha. Shorshom, Shorshom Lemaila, Mina Rotzen Kinal. Over it's higher than Rotzen. Over there, Ein Shayich Klal Simcha. Over there, it doesn't at all apply Simcha. That's why they needed to bring down the level of simcha over there. Because in Abayis, it's beyond seichel. It's not where the Rotzena Elyon Adam, and there can be simcha. There's not a bad to be simcha. There needs to be hamshachas simcha through the Mizmer Shir Chanukas Abayis. So over there's a similar idea. It says you draw the mayim bisosin, the mayim, the beis hasheva, the water draw for the mayim. Nisuch hamayim was done bisosin. Why? Shelefish and nisuch hamayim hu b'bchinas shalamayla b'bchinas nisuch hayayin. Because the libation of the water is from a level which is higher than the libation of yayin. Why? Shayayin is sameach. Yayin brings simcha. Water is higher than the level. It doesn't bring simcha. That's why you have to connect it with simcha. You have to mind the sosin. You have to bring the sosin into the mayim. That's what we say, that dafke water is bisosin ayin shom, and not normal libation. When they pour wine, wine has its own simcha. You don't need to connect their simcha. So this is this song that we sing for the Chanukas Habayis, and that is lahamshir b'Chanukas Habayis b'chinas simcha, to bring down in the Chanukas Habayis the level of simcha. That's why we make a mishta and a simcha, a party and a joy at the time of the Chanukas Habayis. Bezo Gamkin is also in a mizmer shir, a double mizmer and a shir, a song. So need a kefil inyan to make kosuv be'alshich. That seems like a repetition, doubling the, as it says in the alshich. But behind al derech hanal, this is similar to the story of that chosid who was mekayim the mitzvah of shivcha, and he told his son, we're going to bring a por and a ayil for a shlomim and for an oila. What's the simcha? He said, Mara Yisrael Ismeach b'simchas mitzvah zu mikol mitzvahs chulu. Why did you see fit to be rejoicing? Okay, now he said, well, this is a mitzvah which comes from shikha, and the Eibush, they gave you a gift, an extra gift, it's shalom midas. So therefore it's mizmer shir, it's a double simcha. Koshke mechanukas. And certainly when we talk about the dedication of the Beis Hamikdash, which is the general idea of this mitzvah, See what it was explained earlier from this. So it's all the idea of the bias. Bias, the level of makif. So he base chok base peretz says by Ruth when he gave birth to from Abimelech over the whole story. So it says the base chok should be like base peretz. Asher kino, the home of Ruth should be like the house of Peretz. She comes from the Yehuda's son Peretz. So over there it says Kibeis Peretz, like the home. What is saying Kibeis Peretz? So we are describing the child, the birth of a child, like the home. Level of bais. Why is that? Because he wants to say children are also, in a way, come from a very high level in which is beyond the seichel. Kiboni lav b'schuse talia milsa ella b'mazlachul. Children, the Gemara says, boni chai, different things. It's not a merit that it hinges on, but it's the mazel. What's done? So, what would be a zuchus? Zuchus, u'b'chinas ispashus yud datzilus. A merit would mean if the expansion of the 10 spheres datzilus sheheim b'chinas eir pnimi, that would be like an inner light, which would be haskola seichel lizchus chulu. This is understanding and a seichel for a merit. In other words, it's logical. Aval boni, but children, shorshan l'mayla mahaseichel. They are higher than seichel. That is ubchinas mazlo. Also, and therefore, that's love. The shchusatal is of mazl. What is the level of mazl? Level of mazl ubchinas makif elyon. That is supreme makif. Kipirush mazlo, because what is the meaning of mazlo? Hainu hamokoir shua mashpia umazil liya. That is the source, which is the flow, and it drips liyos yizal mayim. Drip like what the word mazil is from the word yizal, just like in the pasuk yizal mayim or v'noizle milivonim, meaning the source from where it drips, from where it comes from. That's called the mazil. That's the makif elyon from where it comes from. The lochein, and that's why nikra b'shem bayis. That's why we call base peretz. The child is base peretz, because sheshorshoy gam ke b'chinas makif elyon. That because the shorish is also from the supreme makif chulu. V'zeu shekosuv v'hiskin loy mimenu binyan adayad. And he prepared from him, from Adam Arishain, a building, an everlasting building. It's all the level of binyan, because it all comes from the level of makif. That's why we call it also a binyan adayad. V'ayu mashikosu, the parshas vaschan b'divra maschil b'zois hamitzvah, the Torah shebal peh nikra bayis. It also explains that Torah shebal peh is called bayis. That's what we said, al tikra bonoich ala bonoich, not your children, but your builders. Aisha. Gimel. Hine al pizeh yuvon mashekosuv. According to this, we can understand why it says, Ki loi bosem ad oto el hamenucha vel anachal. For you have not come yet till here to the menucha and the nachla. That means until they reached Yerushalayim, until they built the Beis Hamikdash, they had not yet come to the menucha, to resting. They haven't rested yet, and also not nachla. So the Gemara says Nucha is Shiloi and Nachlo is Yerushalayim. So we call it. So we already referred to the Mishkan of Shiloi that was temporary, but we call that Menucha is Ubinyan Shiloi. When it says Menucha, that's the building of Shiloi. So what is it, the difference? Now we're going to explain the bias idea. Lahavina Hefresh shebein binyan hamishkon lebein binyan Shiloi. So what's the difference between up till the binyan Shiloi they had the Mishkan and the binyan Shiloi? So what's the difference? Wants to say the difference is over there it was made out of offer, it was made out of doimim, versus the Mishkan which was made out of eitz. Because because the Mishkan in Shiloi, the binyan in Shiloi was exactly the same, the length and the width and all the details of the Mishkan in Shiloi were the same, like at the binyan in Shiloi was the same like the Mishkan in the desert, the same Mishkan. Mishkan came Nasa binyan Shiloi. Just like the shape of the Mishkan, so was the building of Shiloi. So why do we call Menucha the binyan Shiloi? Why is that? What is different? Akahefresh, but the difference is Mishkan hoyu hakroshim atzei eres. In Mishkan, the beams were made out of eres wood, cedar wood, umitzupim zov, and then they were covered with gold. Ubebinyan Shiloi, and in the structure of Shiloi, hoyu hayiriyos me'avonim davke. The panels, the walls were built from stone. Why is there an advantage of building from stones over the building of the Kroshim in the Mishkan? So we need to understand. Haloya Kroshim shebe Mishkan hoyu yukorim harbe yoser min hayiriyos shebe Shiloi. The wood that was in the Mishkan were much more expensive than the panels that were in Shiloi, shoyu ma'avonim, that were out of stone. And umadua hamishkan loy nikra menucha. So why the Mishkan is not called menucha? We don't consider that to be menucha. Ubinyan Shiloi, and the binyan Shiloi is nikra menucha. It is menucha. Seems like the Mishkan was even in a higher, in a more expensive way, more settled way, in a sense, than the binyan Shiloi. But the reason, that's the reason we understand like in Pop. Kavonim shu b'chinas doimem mamesh, because when we talk about stone, which is the actual level of anatomy, b'chinas hayoser tachtoino, which is the lowest level, is shorsho b'chinas hayoser gavoya. Their root comes from much higher. Makiv the Makiv canal, from the higher Makiv the Makiv. Mashen kinatzi eres chulu, as opposed to the atzi eres, umkinas temeach. That's the level of temeach, not doimem. Step up. That is shorsho umkinas Makiv. That root is only Makiv canal. L'chein menucha zu Shiloi, and that's why menucha is Shiloi. Why shu binyan shahoyo binyan avonim? That was a structure of stones, chinas doimem, at the level of them. That's why it was at the level of them. Shaloi hoyo boy shum eitz boilet the chinas semech. He didn't have any protruding wood, only semeach. there were wood inside, not visible, but a protruding, a visible, there was no wood there. And canal. So in the Beis Hamikdash was the higher level Makif the Makif because it was the Daimon. Ba'ay Mashakos Mizel Al Posuk Vayikra Shel Yehuda Ayin Shom. V'lochein Mono Harambam Zal the Sefer HaChinuch Siman Tov Tzadik Beis Belavin. They count over there Loisita L'cho Ashera, the prohibition against planting a cedar. They say that this is the same of putting wood. It is prohibited to build in the Beis Hamikdash any protruding wood. You will be violating the prohibition. Rak eitz shakua mutter, only a sunk wood, a wood within there. In Mamer in Vayigash, he talks about the klunsois shel eitz. Those were pieces of wood in the wood, because that was not a protruding, and that's why because that was made from stone, which had to be level of doimim, and because the root is higher and higher, and so we had to make it only from doimim. Why are we allowed to make a sunken wood? What's the difference between protruding and sunken? Ayin Mashakosov, Apostle Simanik. He explains it in the Mamer, the difference. Our sages of blessed memory talk about Kodesh, that he went sour, he did it wrong. What did he do wrong? It says, Kitziva las is tloso di even, v'chad de'ochu. 3 out of stone, even, and 1 out of wood. That means 8. V'zeh osur canal. This is prohibited. The level of 8, and because he did that, that's the hikmah. A protruding is not allowed to be there. Rak only if it's sunk in a pnimi you can have, but not in the level of makif, protruding. That was specifically from stone. Shitim Emdim, and the Karoshim Emdim. That is when we talk about the cedar wood in the Mishkan, and we talk about the Karoshim Emdim are standing, and Srafim Emdim. And then we say, is Beraz Godel. Cool. So V'hainu, so what is this? Sukkah de Zimra ad Kriya Shema, Hubchinas Atzi Shitim Emdim. Up till the Shema over there, it's the level of Atzi Shitim Emdim. Hubchinas Tzemeach. That's the level of Tzemeach. We also say B'chayis HaKodesh B'ra'ash Godel. There's a lot of noise over there. Why? Al Shemargishim Hayesh Min Ha'olam. Because they have a grasp of the world. V'lochein K'shemasigin as bittul, when they understand when they grasp the bittul, Hashem tzvokis kodesh, we say kodesh kodesh Hashem tzvokis chulu, hey berash kotel. So that's a lot of noise. Mas enkin srofim shehem eine margishim es yesh k'mo yofanim. They do not feel. So therefore, the srofim are emdim k'mo yofanim. L'chein hem emdim mima'aloi. Srofim emdim is mima'aloi. Mima'al shchitem. You understand? Like he puts all these words together over here. Let me just double check. Let me see here for a second. It seems like they're not the same. This not the same level. Atzishiptim Oimdim and the Kroshim Oimdim. That's the level of Hasoga. That's the level of Sameach. And later when it says, that's also Sameach. But then he goes back to speak of that the Srofim Oimdim, the Chais HaKodesh, is Barash Godel, Eim Mashek Hashem Magish V'Sayesh, and L'chein Medu Memaloi. Okay, again, but it's all, I guess, within is with Rash Godel, not such Rash Godel, but therefore they am the Memaloi, Memalushkit. Akol Ponim, this is all the level of Tzemeach. Because in the Pesukkah de Zimra, we talk about Vayfanim v'chayis HaKodesh, but we don't talk about, there's so much about the Sraf Mem de Memaloi, but in any event, V'zo ad Krishma, Avol Haramach Tevim Shebekrishma, once we come to the 248 words, that is in the level of Krishma, is actually 3 words missing. That's why we repeat the Ani Hashem Elokeichem or Hashem Elokeichem Emes, but there's together supposed to be 248 words of Krishma. That's called Nikra Ramach Avonim. That is 248 stone. That's Bechinas Doimim. Because it's no longer the level of Hasogya. That's the level of Bittul. Zo Vayikach Ma'avne Hamokim, that by Yaakov it says he took Ma'avne HaMokim, which is the Ramach Tevin Shebukriya Shema. Those are the 248 words of the Shema, Bechinas Malchus, which is the took from the level of Malchus, She Madrega Yisatachtoino. We said before, Ofar, Tevis, lack of that is the lowest madrega. By Yosem Mirashoso. And he put it by his hand. And as it says, Leitema Tachas Mirashoso. Not under his head, Ella Mirashoso. But from on top of his head. Sheshorsho Bechinas Yoser. Not just from Moichin, but from the higher level of Moichin, Shehu Merashoisim. That is Merashoisim. Merashoisim is beyond the level of Moichin. And that's the connection of the higher level, the Makif, with the level of Doimim, the level of, so Yaakov took from the level of the Doimim back to its source, to Lemailu Merashosim. V'zeu v'yosem oisom atzeva v'yitzik shemen. He made it into a monument and he poured oil. Shemitchila hu rak nekuda. Hatachas hayisoid. L'chatchila, it's only a point under Yisoid. So you have the Sfiras Yisoid Malchus is only a point, only a Nakuda. Yaakov Herima v'oso matzeva. He made it into a monument. And then by Yitzhak Allah Hashem. Himshich b'chinas moichin al yonim. He brought down the level of the supreme moichin, which is Shemen Mishchas Kodesh. The Shemen, holding on to that's the level of moichin b'chinas Chochmei Law, which is the level of Chochmei. Unfortunately, as much as I want to finish, but I have to run to daven. Okay, so we'll leave it over here, and we'll have to finish next time. Okay. Yeah.